Choosing to stay, even when it's hard, is the most powerful expression of love an avoidant person can give. For someone whose instinct is to retreat when emotions get intense, staying takes incredible courage. It means they're fighting their own fear, choosing connection over comfort, vulnerability over safety. They may not shout their love or wear it on their sleeve, but when they remain present during conflict, when they show up after needing space, that's love in its rawest form. It's not easy for them. Every step closer is an act of trust. Every decision to stay is a victory over the urge to run. And that quiet perseverance speaks louder than any words ever could. Because when someone who fears closeness still chooses you, it's not out of habit or convenience. It's because their heart has decided that you're worth the risk. That's love with power, depth, and truth. Love doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides behind silence, subtle gestures, and the smallest acts that many overlook. We live in a world where love is often defined by grand declarations, constant attention, and open displays of affection. But for someone who's avoidant, someone who's learned to protect their emotions, love looks different. It's quieter, softer, and yet in its own way, even more powerful. When an avoidant person loves you, they may not flood you with words. They may not reach out every day or fill your phone with messages, but what they do offer carries a deeper kind of weight because it's not easy for them. Every act of connection, every time they let you in even a little, is an act of courage. They're not withholding love. They're trying to manage the overwhelming flood of it inside. They feel deeply, but expressing that depth feels risky. So instead of saying, I love you, they show it in quiet ways, a favor done without asking a thoughtful gesture, a presence that never fully disappears even when they need space. You see, real love isn't about how loudly you can shout it. It's about how consistently you live it. And for the avoidant heart, consistency is love. Every time they come back after pulling away, it's because something in them knows you matter. They may not always understand why they distance themselves, but love is what keeps them tethered. It's what makes them try again, even when it's uncomfortable. Think about it. Anyone can say, I love you. Anyone can promise the world in a moment of passion. But someone who finds it difficult to express emotion, yet still chooses to stay connected, is showing you a love that's deliberate. It's not impulsive. It's not performative. It's real. And if you're on the receiving end of that love, your job isn't to demand more noise. It's to learn to hear the quiet, to recognize that love doesn't always look like what you've seen in movies. It might look like them fixing something you broke, remembering the small details about your day, or respecting your independence because they value your strength. When they listen more than they speak, when they choose to stay present, even though their instinct is to retreat, that's love. It's not about perfection. It's about effort. The effort to overcome fear, to move toward connection instead of away from it. So the next time someone you care about doesn't express love in the way you expect, pause. Look deeper. Watch their actions, because sometimes the quietest love is the most authentic. Sometimes the softest gestures carry the loudest truth. And when you can recognize that, when you can see that love doesn't have to roar to be real, you open your heart to a deeper kind of connection, one that doesn't need to shout to be heard, because the love that whispers is often the love that lasts. Distance can be one of the most misunderstood expressions of love. When someone you care about starts to pull away, your first instinct might be to think you've done something wrong, that they've lost interest, that their silence means rejection. But for someone with avoidant tendencies, distance doesn't always come from a lack of feeling. In fact, it can be the exact opposite. It can be a sign of vulnerability, a signal that they're feeling something so powerful, so real that it scares them. An avoidant person's natural response to emotional intensity is retreat. When they start to care deeply, their instincts tell them to protect themselves. They might step back, not because they don't love you, but because they do. Love makes them feel exposed, and exposure makes them uncomfortable. They've likely learned somewhere along the way that closeness can lead to pain, that being vulnerable means risking heartbreak. So when the emotions rise, they create space. That space isn't rejection. It's a coping mechanism. It's their way of saying, this matters to me and I need to catch my breath. Here's what's important to understand. When an avoidant person distances themselves, it's not about you being unworthy of love. It's about their battle with trust in themselves, trust in others, and trust in the safety of connection. Deep down, they want closeness, but they're terrified of losing themselves in it. They're afraid that if they let someone too close, they'll get hurt or disappointed. So they create distance as a shield. It's not indifference, it's self-preservation. And yet, here's the paradox that very distance is often proof of their emotional investment. If they didn't care, they wouldn't need to step away to regain control. The fear of losing control only exists when something truly matters. Their silence, their need for solitude, their moments of withdrawal, these are not signs of absence, they're signs of inner struggle, of someone trying to manage feelings that feel too big to handle. If you can see that distance for what it truly is, not as rejection, but as a sign of emotional overwhelm, you can approach it with compassion instead of fear. You can give them space without taking it personally, because love isn't about chasing someone down. It's about creating safety so they can return on their own. When they do come back, when they open up again, it means they've chosen to push past their fear. That choice, quiet as it may seem, is monumental. It means love is winning the inner battle against avoidance. So when you feel that distance, breathe. Don't rush to fill the silence. Don't try to fix it. Instead, trust the bond. Understand that sometimes space isn't a wall. It's a bridge being built slowly with trembling hands. Because for an avoidant person, love isn't about constant presence. It's about the courage to come back again and again, even after fear has pulled them away. That's not rejection. That's vulnerability in its purest form, consistency over closeness. It's a concept that challenges the way most people think about love. We're often taught that love is measured by how much time someone spends with us, how often they express affection, or how openly they share their emotions. But for someone who is avoidant, love doesn't always show up as constant closeness. It shows up as consistency, the steady, reliable presence that remains even when emotional distance exists. An avoidant person may not crave togetherness in the same way others do. Too much closeness can feel overwhelming, even suffocating. It's not that they don't want to be near you. It's that they need space to feel safe. Their comfort comes from balance, from knowing they can love without losing themselves. So instead of clinging tightly, they show their love through patterns, reliability, and loyalty. When they show up, when they do what they say they'll do, when they stay even while keeping some emotional distance, that's their way of saying, you matter to me. You might not always feel their love in the moments of silence or solitude, but if you look deeper, you'll notice their consistency. They return your calls even after needing space. They remember the things that matter to you. They're there when you truly need them, even if they're not there every moment. That steady rhythm is their form of intimacy. For them, consistency is trust in action. It's love without performance. In a world that often confuses intensity for intimacy, it's easy to overlook this quieter form of love. But the truth is, anyone can be close when it's convenient or exciting. Real love, lasting love, requires someone who can show up even when it's hard, who can maintain connection through discomfort. That's what consistency is all about. It's the difference between someone who's emotionally reactive and someone who's emotionally committed. For the avoidant person, consistency is a huge step toward vulnerability. It means they're choosing to stay even when their instincts tell them to run. It means they're building trust one steady moment at a time. They might not shower you with constant affection, but when they keep showing up, it's their way of proving that their love is not a fleeting feeling. It's a decision. If you're with someone like this, don't measure their love by how often they express it. Measure it by the effort they make to remain part of your life, to be there in the ways they can. Notice how they support you quietly, how they follow through on what they promise, how they return even after pulling away. That's not emotional absence. That's emotional endurance. Consistency may not sparkle like passion, but it's the foundation on which real love is built. Because closeness can come and go, but consistency, the choice to keep showing up, that's what transforms love from a feeling into a lifelong commitment. For the avoidant heart, that consistency is love. It may be quiet, it may be subtle, but it's strong, steadfast, and real. Letting you into their private world is one of the most profound signs of love an avoidant person can offer. For someone who guards their emotions and values independence, opening up even a small part of their inner life is not just a gesture, it's an act of trust. It means you've crossed an invisible threshold, one that few people ever reach. Avoidant individuals build strong emotional walls to feel safe. They keep their world small, predictable, and controlled. So when they start to let you in, when they show you their routines, share their thoughts, or reveal pieces of their past, it's a clear sign that you mean more to them than most. For them, vulnerability feels risky. It's not just about revealing personal details. It's about letting someone see who they really are beneath the composed exterior. Avoidance fear that if they let someone too close, they might lose themselves or get hurt. So when they do open up, it's not casual. It's intentional. Every confession, every story, every quiet moment of honesty is a milestone in their journey toward emotional intimacy. You're not just hearing their words, you're witnessing their courage. You might notice it in small ways first. They start to talk about their childhood, their dreams, or the things that make them anxious. Maybe they let you see their workspace, their home, or their creative side, places they usually keep private. These moments are precious. To you, they may seem simple, but to them, they're deeply meaningful. It means they're inviting you into the spaces they usually protect, trusting that you won't use that access to hurt them. What's powerful about this is that it's not about grand gestures. It's about genuine connection. An avoidant person's love doesn't explode into the room. It unfolds slowly, layer by layer. The more they feel safe with you, the more of their world they reveal. And that process is sacred, because behind that guarded exterior lies someone who feels deeply but struggles to show it. When they finally do, it's because they've decided that the risk of being seen is worth the reward of being known. Your role, if you love someone like this, is to hold that space gently. Don't rush them. Don't demand more than they're ready to give. Every bit of openness is progress. The moment you show them that their vulnerability is safe with you, they'll begin to open even more. Trust is their love language. Not words, not touch, not constant presence, but the quiet exchange of safety and understanding. So when an avoidant person lets you into their private world, know that it's not a small thing. It's everything. It's their way of saying, you're someone I trust. You're someone I want to keep close. And once they reach that point, you're no longer just part of their life. You're part of their inner world, the place they rarely let anyone enter. That's not just affection. That's love in its most authentic, vulnerable form. For someone with an avoidant personality, love doesn't always come in the form of sweet words, constant validation, or grand declarations. In fact, words can feel uncomfortable or even insincere to them. They may not say, I love you, often, or shower you with compliments, but that doesn't mean they don't care. Their love speaks through action, quiet, steady, tangible gestures that show up when you least expect them. For the avoidant heart, acts of service carry more truth than words ever could. This kind of love is practical, grounded, and deeply intentional. It's the way they fix something that's broken in your home without being asked. It's how they remember your morning routine and make your coffee just the way you like it. It's staying late to help you with a problem or taking care of small details so your day runs smoother. These aren't random tasks. They're messages of love delivered in a language that feels natural and safe to them. Avoidant individuals often find verbal expressions of affection intimidating because they require vulnerability. Words can make them feel exposed, and exposure feels risky. But doing something that feels safer, it allows them to show love without losing control. So instead of saying, I'm thinking of you, they might quietly make sure your car is filled with gas. Instead of long emotional talks, they'll help you solve a problem or take on a task that lightens your load. To them, these actions mean, I'm here for you. You can depend on me. It's easy to overlook this kind of love if you're expecting something louder or more expressive. You might wonder why they don't verbalize what they feel, why they seem distant in emotional conversations. But look closer. Their love is in their consistency, in the effort they put into making your life better. They may not always speak love, but they live it through what they do. Every action they take is a bridge, a way of connecting without having to cross into territory that feels unsafe. The beauty of acts of service is that they're rooted in reliability. They show that this person is paying attention, that they care about your needs, your comfort, your peace of mind. And that's powerful, because love isn't just about saying the right words. It's about showing up in the right ways. For someone avoidant, that's where their strength lies. Their actions are their promise, quiet, steady, and real. When you begin to recognize this pattern, you start to understand their love language. You stop waiting for the words and start noticing the care that's already there. Every meal they cook, every chore they help with, every time they step in to make your life easier. That's their heart speaking. It's love without the noise, love that's grounded in effort. And once you learn to see it, you'll realize that sometimes the most profound I love you isn't spoken, it's done. Choosing to stay even when it's hard is one of the clearest and most powerful signs of love an avoidant person can give. For someone who naturally feels safer at a distance, choosing to remain connected, especially during times of tension, discomfort, or emotional vulnerability, is not a small decision. It's monumental. It's a sign of growth, courage, and deep emotional investment. For the avoidant, love often feels like walking a tightrope between the desire for closeness and the need for independence. So when they choose to stay, despite that internal conflict, it means something inside them has shifted. It means love has begun to outweigh fear. Avoidant individuals are not wired to seek connection when things get tough. Their instinct is to retreat, to create space, to protect themselves from potential pain or rejection. Conflict, emotional intensity, and dependency can all trigger their defenses. When emotions run high, their mind tells them, step back. Don't get too close. You'll get hurt. It's not about a lack of caring. It's about survival. They've often learned, sometimes from early experiences, that love can be unpredictable or even unsafe. So their protective reflex is distance. That's why staying is such a profound act of love for them. When they stay through the discomfort, through the difficult conversations, through the misunderstandings, they're not just choosing you, they're choosing to challenge their own patterns. They're choosing to trust. That's enormous. It means they're pushing against the fear that has shaped them for so long. It means you've become a safe enough presence for them to take that risk. You may not always see the internal struggle behind that choice. On the outside, it might look like a quiet moment, a deep breath, or a simple decision not to walk away. But inside, it's a battle between instinct and intention. Every time they resist the urge to withdraw, every time they take a step closer instead of farther away, they're proving that their love is stronger than their fear. They may not say it, but that choice to stay is their I love you. For someone who avoids emotional dependency, love can feel like losing control. But when they stay, it means they've realized that connection doesn't have to mean loss. It can mean partnership. It can mean safety. And that realization is transformative. Staying doesn't mean they're suddenly free from fear. It means they're learning how to live with it without letting it rule them. It's love in progress, messy, vulnerable, but real. If you're with someone like this, it's important to recognize the weight of that choice. Don't dismiss it because it's quiet or subtle. When they stay after a disagreement, when they come back after needing space, when they open the door instead of closing it, those are their love letters written in action. It's easy to love when things feel effortless. The true test of love is what happens when things get hard. And for the avoidant person, choosing to remain present when everything inside them says, run is the purest expression of love they can give. Your patience and understanding can make this process easier for them. Avoidants don't need to be pushed. They need to feel safe enough to move closer on their own. The more they sense that you respect their space and value their effort, the more they'll be able to open up. When they see that you notice their effort, that you understand staying is hard for them, they'll begin to relax into the relationship. Over time, what once felt terrifying will start to feel natural. And that's the beauty of love with an avoidant person. It may not come easily, but when it does, it's incredibly genuine because they don't stay out of obligation or fear of loneliness. They stay because they've made a conscious, courageous choice to do so. They've decided that the connection is worth the risk, that you are worth the effort, and that love, even when it's uncomfortable, is something they want to fight for. So when an avoidant person chooses to stay, even when their instinct screams for distance, don't underestimate what that means. It's not weakness. It's strength. It's not hesitation. It's bravery. In that choice lies the truest form of love, the kind that doesn't come easily, but once it arrives, it's steady, sincere, and enduring. Because when love wins over fear, even in small moments, that's when it becomes real. And for the avoidant heart, choosing to stay is the loudest way they'll ever say, I love you.